Today we're going to review what a proportion is and how you solve a proportion. So all ratios can be written as a set of equivalent ratios. That means they're equal to each other. So for example, 1/2, 2/4, 3/6, 4/8. We could write any of those as equal to each other. 1/2 is equal to 2/4. 2/4 is equal to 3/6. 2/4 is equal to 4/8, etc. So we can make a proportion by taking any two equivalent ratios and setting them equal to each other. So any ratio, an equivalent ratio, can be written to form a proportion. And a proportion is a statement of equality between these two rates or two ratios. So a couple more examples. 5/7 equals 15/21, or 6/10 equals 24/40. Those are equivalent ratios, so they can be set up as a proportion. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to solve a proportion. When you solve proportions, you multiply across the equal sign to create an equation that we can solve. This is simply a shortcut to the rules of solving equations. When you have one ratio on each side of the equal sign, or a proportion like we have, some of you may have heard of the term cross multiply and divide. That is simply a shortcut to following rules of solving equations. So here's what we do. We multiply across the equal sign, but on a diagonal. It does not matter which diagonal you multiply first. So I'm going to multiply on the diagonal downwards. N times 22 is 22n. So we are multiplying. We are going to have an equal sign, and then we are going to multiply on the second diagonal. So 15 times 8 is 120. This is where the term cross multiply comes from. If you look, we formed an X across that equal sign, so the multiplication symbol. Now we have an equation that can be solved, and we solve it using inverse operations. If you want to get the variable by itself, we remove what is with it using an inverse operation. It is currently 22n, which is 22 times n. Inverse of multiplication is division. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other. 22 divided by 22 is 1. So that cancels out and just gives you the n. 120 divided by 22 gives us 5.45, where the 4/5 repeats. So we have now solved this proportion. So that's where the term cross multiply and divide comes from. The cross multiply is the diagonal multiplications, and then the division, so cross multiply and divide, comes from the rules of solving an equation. So let's just make sure we've got this understood. It does not matter where in the proportion the variable is. In this next example, the variable is in the bottom. Doesn't matter. We still multiply on the diagonal. 2 times 30 is 60. We have an equal sign. And now we do the other diagonal, which is x times 6, so 6x. Now remember, our goal is to get the variable by itself. We want to isolate for it. So we need to divide by 6. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So it leaves us with an x. 60 divided by 6 is 10. So x is 10. Continuing the practice, let's try again. Multiply on the diagonal. 2 times 12 is 24. We will have an equal sign. The second diagonal, n times 8, will be 8n. We want to isolate the variable, so inverse of multiplication is division. So we divide both sides by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, so we just have n. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So our value is 3. And the last one, 4 times 14 is 56. Multiply on the second diagonal. 5 times h is 5h. Solve by inverse operations. Inverse of multiplication is division. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so that just leaves us with an h. 56 divided by 5 is 11.2. So that is just a review of solving proportions so that we can apply it to some unit rates and unit analysis in the next few lessons. What you can do now is go and practice some of these to make sure you have the process down.